Hi, it's Jamie with Hart Industries. Today we're going to be talking about hose assembly inspection. This is just going to be a brief overview of what we look for when we do a visual inspection. We recommend you do this inspection prior to each use of the hose. It's a brief thing that you can do to prevent the hose from failing. We're going to talk about rubber hose and composite hose today. This first piece is a rubber hose. One of the biggest things that can happen to a rubber hose is kinking, of course. And the rule of thumb, if a hose is kinked beyond 20% of its overall diameter, it's considered bad. What happens, the metal wires that run through this hose become creased, as you can see here. And this wire will actually puncture the carcass of the hose and can cause it to burst and fail. Another thing that we look for is outside damage to the hose. This type of damage is caused just from dragging the hose around. If you see any rust color spots on the outside of the hose, it's an indicator that it's rubbed through to the wire and you would want to take that hose out of service. Another type of hose that's often used in chemical plants is composite hose. The biggest thing on composite hose, this outside wire is wrapped tightly around the outside of the hose. This piece here shows that the wire is loosened. Any loosening of the wire is considered bad. Also, the wire can just become flattened from dragging the hose around and will eventually break. If you're able to move the spring on the hose around at all, it is considered bad. Composite hose is able to kink, it's much harder, but the same rule applies to composite hose as rubber. Fitting inspection is also equally important. Your cam lock ears over time will become loose, and this hole that holds the ear in will actually wear out completely and your ear can fall off. If you notice any side-to-side movement in your ears, you'll want to replace those cam lock ears. The gasket inside of these female cam locks, also important. If a gasket has taken a set and has collapsed, you want to replace that gasket. If there's any discoloration or pitting in the gasket as well, you'll want to pull that gasket out. This is the thing that can cause a hose to leak most commonly. A couple of things to look at. Most chemical hose is going to have a tan or a white tube like this one here. This piece here was introduced to steam, prolonged steam cleaning. Any burnt spots or dark brown you can see in the tube is an indicator that the hose has reached the end of its service life or it was exposed to steam too long. This damage here was caused by a pressure washer in an attempt to clean the hose. And what happens here, just a small nick in the tube will cause the hose to act as a wick and it will burst on the outside of the hose. You can also do a brief flashlight inspection on the interior of your hose. You're only able to see so far down, but you can also see red flags that could cause a hose to fail just by doing a brief inspection of the tube with a flashlight. That's a brief overview. We recommend that you do this every time you use the hose. It's a brief inspection that can prevent a failure. Thanks for watching. Jamie with Hart.